Welcome to Biztech's Personal Finance Show. Today we explore the topic of financial planning. Now, here to give us his insights is Wayne Chen, the founder and chief executive officer of GoalsMapper. GoalsMapper is an award-winning financial planning software that combines the power of technology with the imagination and experience of financial consultants. Now, Wayne, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Now, Wayne, let's start by you giving us an overview of GoalsMapper and how the idea of GoalsMapper came about.
So for myself, I've been building businesses since I was 24 years old. It has already been 14 years in building business. So GoalsMapper was started, officially launched in May 2018. Yeah, so the reason why we came out with GoalsMapper was because there are a few reasons. Personally, I came from a normal, average, middle income family. And I understand the importance of personal financial planning. So in fact, I learned all this when I was young, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, understanding how to manage personal finance.
Wow, so you started early.
Yeah, I started like when I'm 18 years old. So okay. I started work part-time, save some money, how to manage your finance better. And I started to go into protection, putting money aside as my savings. So I started really, really young, and I saw the benefits of managing your personal finance early. So along the way, actually, before I started GoalsMapper, I started another fintech company to help people to keep their asset information. But we found that consumers actually didn't want to input this information themselves. So eventually, we came out with GoalsMapper. So GoalsMapper, like what you mentioned, has won multiple awards. We strive to empower people to make better financial decisions. So we started building this platform to enable financial advisors to plan with greater clarity for their clients.
Okay, so your target audience is essentially the financial advisors themselves.
Yes, so like what I mentioned, right, previously we came out with a platform that is for consumers to put in their own information. But the thing is that a lot of people may not have that literacy to do it. So that's why GoalsMapper actually came in to support the financial advisors to help their clients to gain greater clarity.
And I want to talk about financial literacy a little bit later, because I think the myth of financially literate people being rich or poor, depending on how you look at it, is actually a myth. It's across the board, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. So I think before we started this program, this recording, right, we were talking about possible people, if let's say you earn $2,000 a month, but you only spend $500, you can be very high in your net worth. Yes. But eventually, a person who earns $10,000 a month but spends like $9,900 a month, right, your net worth will be very low. So literacy is really about how you manage your wealth, so that you can protect your assets, and at the same time, you have enough for your retirement.
Now, what sort of, for GoalsMapper, your target audience is the financial planning community. What are your product and service offerings?
So today, GoalsMapper has developed 3 products. We name it GM Planner, GM Brand, and GM Connect. So GM Planner is a platform that enables the financial advisors to plan with greater clarity for their client. They can input the different goals that the clients want to achieve, the different scenarios that they probably will be in, and even stress test the current portfolio and showing the effects and impact of the recommendation that they give. So it is a tool that can help the clients to better visualize their finances from now all the way to their retirement. So that's GM Planner. So we have the second product, GM Brand, that actually helps to brand the financial advisors offline, online. Then thirdly, we have GM Connect, which helps the financial advisors in having a more targeted engagement with their clients.
Okay, what do you mean by that? More targeted engagement?
So if you have certain messages that you wanted to share with your clients, you can actually segment your clients in terms of their financial portfolio or products portfolio. Then you can send very targeted information for them. So that is one part of it. Then you can also automate some of your processes. such that you can set up annual review automation. Such automation helps you to automatically send WhatsApp or emails to your client to arrange for the next review session.
Now, how is this different, Wayne, from some of the technology offerings that large companies like insurance companies actually offer their agents?
So I think because of COVID, right, the pandemic, a lot of companies are moving into digitalization. That financial institutions are also moving towards this digitalization. The phase one of the digitalization is mainly on the e-signing or electronic submission of cases. So that is the core fundamental of their business.
Yeah, and that's been happening for many years already. That was the low-lying fruit, as you said.
Yeah, so now they are now moving towards a customer-centric advisory, because I think a lot of us also are aware that customers today, their expectation is changing. They would want to have a more holistic approach in how they can actually view their finances. So financial institutions today are now exploring to have such a customer-centric advisory experience for their client. So in fact, more and more financial institutions are more receptive to explore working with us to provide such solution for their clients.
So in other words, your business model is a B2, is it a business to business or business to consumer model? Because do you work with the insurance companies or these financial institutions, or do you work directly with their agents?
So we work both ways. We work with the financial institution. We also work with the financial advisors.
Okay. Now I want to talk about something that we talked about earlier, which is basically financial literacy. And this pandemic has exposed something really very ugly in terms of the ugly underbelly in the region, which is essentially people are not prepared for retirement financially. So why do we say that? So recent studies have shown that 60% of Singaporeans don't have enough retirement savings, and this study was done in 2020. Furthermore, I think a survey conducted during the circuit breaker revealed that 2 out of 3 Singaporeans who are working, Singaporeans and permanent residents, indicated they do not have enough savings to last them beyond 6 months. Now, this is not a Singaporean problem. This problem gets worse across the region. I'll use Malaysia as an example. 46% of the members of the Employees Provident Fund, which is the CPF equivalent, below the age of 55, now have less than 10,000 ringgit in their accounts. What are your thoughts on this in the context of future financial planning post-pandemic?
I guess the first thing is that not many people are very conscious about personal financial planning. Usually it only happens once a year when you meet up with your advisor. Then you will probably think through what do you actually need to prepare for the future. So this pandemic, I think what happened was that a lot of people experienced loss of jobs, right? So that is where there are a lot of surveys that you have seen. It shows that they do not even have enough to last them for 6 months. Don't just talk about retirement, right? So that's even worse. So a lot of people are actually not well prepared in terms of looking at their financial planning. Yeah, so I guess that's why today more and more people are getting aware, and they know that they really need to plan to have enough finances so that to withstand any scenario that could happen, unforeseen circumstances. Yeah.
Now, Wayne, what do you think? What are some key things that an individual needs to think about if they've gone through difficult times during the pandemic? Now they are just got a job or they're just back in the groove. How can they quickly repair themselves financially? What are some of the key things that they need to do?
I think there are many aspects, right? Like when we first started working, we probably won't even think of like getting married, having children, buying our first house, buying our first car, how much that actually costs us. So we probably won't even have an idea how this will impact our finances. So I think first thing as when it comes into financial planning, we need to be very clear what are the goals, financial goals that we want to achieve, right? So having been able to plot this out, then you'll be able to understand how this will actually affect your finances and how much do you need to even finance all these goals, right? The second thing is definitely scenarios, the different scenarios that could happen. Like what we mentioned, today, due to the pandemic, a lot of people loss of jobs or retrenchment, or even in terms of disability or critical illness, how this will actually impact the finances. Do we have enough protection to cover all these unforeseen circumstances? And when it comes to retirement, that is because inflation, right? Many people probably would not understand how inflation can have a huge impact on their retirement. They may think that we can cover all the necessary costs during retirement. But the problem is with inflation and the number of years that you are probably in the workforce, do you have enough savings to even cover your retirement? And given now the life expectancy is getting longer, right? You really need to prepare and plan for the retirement.
And do you think that, I think as a rule of thumb, let's just say somebody is rebuilding their finances. So when I say rebuilding, is the two scenarios that I mentioned before. They know they don't have enough money for retirement. What are the things that they probably need to do very quickly? For example, obviously, the simple thing is increase your savings rate. What is a typical tipping age, say 40, 50 or so forth? What percentage of your income should you be saving then, especially if you want to top up your retirement funds?
So I think the beautiful part about GoalsMapper is that it is very personalized. It really depends on each individual financial goals that they want to achieve and how they want to plan for their retirement. So it is very tough to say that, a percentage, whether this percentage will work for everybody. Because if today I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, I don't want to have any houses, I don't want to have any cars, those sort of direction, right? I probably won't need a lot of money, in my retirement days. But then again, if a person having more financial goals, then they actually need to save up more. So I think the best way is really, if possible, speak to a financial advisor. Go through all your assets, liability, income, expense, all the insurance that you have, and what are your financial goals. Go through your concerns. Then from there, the financial advisor can better advise you how you can actually manage your finances to achieve all those goals.
And I want to talk now, zoom in a little bit on millennials, because they are very different from their parents. Obviously, as you mentioned, they have higher life expectancies. Cost of living is higher. Markets are more volatile. Now we are in a low interest rate environment. But there are different trends that are popular among millennials. One of which is, I think, a really popular one is attaining a benchmark 100,000 in savings by the year 30. I hear this a lot. Could you give us some insights into how financials think and these financial trends?
So I guess it is a benchmark for people to at least have a goal to work towards, right? So ultimately, I think back to the initial concept, right? It really depends on individual. What do you want to achieve? So what you say is very true, right? The millennials, they have a longer life expectancy with higher inflation, higher cost of living. Do they really have enough? So I guess this 100,000 at the age of 30 really gives them more awareness and make them more conscious into making sure that they have enough, save enough, and prepare enough for their future.
Wayne, one of the things with the millennials is very popular over the last 10 years, I think, is the FIRE movement. So for our audience, it's the Financial Independence Retire Early Lifestyle Movement. Tell us about that and tell us whether or not that has sort of taken shape or taken hold among millennials in Singapore.
Yes, I guess, this is really the trend, right? Everyone is talking about they want to be financially independent. They want to retire early. And I guess that's everybody's dream, right? So with that trend, a lot of millennials, they are moving into DIY investing, that kind of platforms. Yeah. So I guess this is the DIY investment platform. I guess for millennials, I feel that they should still speak to their financial advisors to really look at a more holistic approach how they can manage their finances, because it's not just about investment. A lot of times it's also about protection, because we ourselves, we are the revenue or income generator, right? So what if one day we fall ill, then that income is not going to come in, and how do we then protect ourselves from that? So it really needs to look at a holistic overview of their finances. So given the circumstances of a millennial, I strongly urge them to start early and talk to a professional.
Wayne, it's been a very interesting conversation. Any final thoughts you would like to leave us with before we end this show?
I guess today we have already launched our platform in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. So hoping to help the people in the region to have a better understanding of their own finances. And recently we just launched it in Philippines. So we hope that we can launch it faster. So in the near future, we can help more people to have a more conscious about their finance, and they can make better financial decisions.
Wayne, thank you very much for coming on the show, and thanks for your insights.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Brian.
Now, we've been speaking to Wayne Chen, the founder and chief executive officer of GoalsMapper, on Biztech's Personal Finance Show. This video will be on our various social media platforms as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in.